Hi, Josh. I'm Danny.
Hi, Danny. Nice to meet you.
And you. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for your time. I'm super stoked to speak to you.
Oh, I'm stoked to speak to you too. It's my pleasure. Thank you for making time. Must be late there. Where are you? What city are you calling in from?
Johannesburg. It's not that
Okay.
late. Just
Okay,
before
that's
2.
good. It's almost about 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And you, what
Excellent.
time is it there?
We're just approaching noon here, where it's about 11:42 in the morning. So it's still nice and sunny here in Los Angeles.
Before we get into the album, because I'm super stoked to talk about it, I was listening to some of the songs today. Your Face is my favorite, and I love the video. But I was also, I follow Life is Short with Justin Long of the podcast,
Oh
and you were
yeah,
on it.
great guy,
Yeah.
great pod. Yeah.
Your episode, before I even knew that I was going to talk to you, was one of my favorites because
Oh,
you
thank
get
you.
so honest about how you felt coming into this music industry. We see these documentaries now, especially on Netflix, and of all these incredible, talented, insanely talented people
Yep.
who the industry has kind of chewed up and spat out. And I've
Mm.
always felt like you missed that, like you sidestepped that. And I didn't realize that you'd sidestepped that because you felt like you didn't belong there. So I don't think that you fully jumped in.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, and I mentioned it in his podcast, that the curse that wound up being a blessing for me was that I never really felt in with the in crowd. I never really felt part of the hype machine, part of the paparazzi circus, part of the Grammy, table, whatever it is. I just always kind of felt like I was kind of outside of it, doing my own thing and kind of making my own waves. And that's lonely when you're in the middle of it doing it and you're feeling like on the one hand you're absolutely crushing it, and on the other hand there's this enormous amount of dismissiveness. Um, it's you don't get to go all in even if you want to, because you're forced to keep your head down and pave your own path, and that's hard. It's hard to do that. It's hard to keep blinders on and stay focused. And then of course if you keep doing that, if you just stay resilient, and you cultivate an audience that you're learning from and they're learning from you, and you're doing it the slower right way, and it's not just about give us another hit and give us another great beat, give us another, that they're really in it for the full picture.
Mm.
Then you get a lot more freedom as you stick it out and hang in there. There's a lot that you can do, and then the fun begins. I was a nervous wreck those first years. That was a very successful, not very fun time for me. And so I do look back now and I realize how lucky, obviously lucky for the opportunities, but lucky for the things I thought I was unlucky for. I was even luckier than I realized.
You also spoke about theatre and how being a theatre kid gave you a purpose and a space. And I was also a theatre kid, and
Oh, good.
we've recently started cutting our theatre in schools, unless you go to a special school. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, about the importance of having arts at school for kids.
No, I imagine for you it was very similar as it was for me, and in that it allowed me to get out of my own head at a time when I was very shy. I think a lot of people also assume that if you're a performer, you're an extrovert, and oftentimes that's actually not the case. That the stage is your way to break out of your shell. It's your escape, and when you're off stage, it's not that way at all. And especially when you're a young kid and you don't have that stage, then you're just all inside yourself. And so for me, for you, probably for anybody that I talk to who's had that aha moment, who's had that light bulb turned on by a teacher, by a production that meant so much to them, by a paintbrush for the first time, whatever it is, if you find great talent and it winds up turning into a career, then that's a bonus. But what it actually does is it gives young people a voice when they feel voiceless, and it gives them a sense of purpose and a sense of confidence and leadership and knowing, self-knowing, that is a tool that any one of us can take with us for the rest of our lives in whatever capacity we decide to use it. So for me, theater was the thing that I sang at the top of my lungs in my bedroom when I was a kid. Obviously, for me, I felt very full circle to be able to go and be part of the theater community and to be able to act on the Broadway stage and to be part of that in a big way. But it's also the reason I have a foundation. It's also a reason why I like to give back as often as I can, because here it's the same way. The programs are getting cut at an enormous rate. It's always the first thing to get cut when you're looking at budgetary things. because the stigma about the arts is that it's a extracurricular. It's a
Nice
drum
to have.
circle. It's a nice thing. It's a macaroni picture. It's not a, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's the short-term view. The long-term view is that we're setting up the next generations to be more empathetic and more, in touch with the world around them and with themselves, and better leaders. Because the kids that are benefiting most from these programs are the ones that, I was a lucky one. I had a privileged life where I was able to go to those camps and have those lessons and have those parents who were in the arts. We're interested in reaching the kids that do not have those privileges, who have home lives that don't allow them to express who they are, and oftentimes feel a lot of turmoil in their lives in school. So it's a lifesaver. We're pounding that pavement. We're trying to do the same here. And our goal with my foundation, Find Your Light, eventually is to go globally. We've got a lot of problems here in America we need to fix, but I'd love for a classroom in Compton to meet with a classroom in Joburg at some point, and show their art to each other. We've got the technology now where we can utilize and bring arts education globally to make the world less large. I think the problem with a lot of this politics and everything is it's making us feel so separate, and the arts, especially in a young student, can really help to bridge those gaps.
Okay, so let's talk about your art, Harmony. It's available for pre-order, but you wrote some of it pre-lockdown, some of it in lockdown. Tell me about that. That must have been really traumatic. Like,
sure.
Weird experience.
I mean, you work hard to build a momentum, and then that momentum goes out the window, and then you have to and then the world turns upside down, and you revisit a project that you had, a lot of momentum for, and you realize, your thought process is different, your ideas are different. Songs that felt relevant 7 months ago might take a back seat to songs that feel more relevant now. They're all classics, they're all brilliant, but the curating changes, and the reasons and the whys of how you want to express a song really shift with the time. If you're in tune, which we really try to be, even if we're doing an album of songs that have already been done. And then the writing, the two songs that are original were not supposed to be on this album. They were written right in the middle of quarantine. They were written right in this very spot. I'm sitting actually at a keyboard right now. This is my bedroom, and I've got a mic right here, and my headphones are right here. And I sang and recorded those two songs right here. And I did them for me. I did them because I needed to find some semblance of hope and light in all the darkness. And for me, just writing and making noise, even if it sucks, is always a good way to exercise those demons for me. So Your Face and The Fullest, the two songs that are original, happened right in the middle of quarantine. And I'm grateful that they're on there.
Your Face hit me, I think, the hardest. There's a message and there's a feeling, there's an energy to that song. It almost takes you straight back to 5 months ago when we were in hard lockdown and we were all socially isolated completely. And it's just so beautiful. And the video, which is on YouTube, is also really beautiful because exactly what you were saying about Joburg and Compton, you guys created this beautiful piece of art, this beautiful poetry, it's beautiful, but you were completely apart. And I think the way that you captured that was really cool.
Thank you. There's a lot, whenever you're going through a crisis, whether it's a health crisis, political, whatever it is, there's just a lot of noise. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of punditry. And that song came about because I honestly, I was just muted the TV. I muted the TV and I'm walking around and I'm looking at interviews with doctors, nurses, students, people who are so afraid but have so much hope in their eyes. And I wrote a song basically about the idea that in the end, we have what it takes. We have the ability to tap into a resilience that we never thought we had. And in these moments of hardship, we find deep down a lot of strength, a lot of love and connectivity that breaks through any cynicism that we had about our lives and about each other previously. And so that was a song about just kind of the very simple, because again, when you're going through chaos, you got to just think about the simple hopes, the simple dreams. and looking into those eyes and just seeing some semblance of love and hope and wanting to write about that.
One of the covers that you've done is Angels from Robbie Williams.
And through it all, she offers me protection.
Do you ever go, maybe I'm not going to do it justice, maybe I'm not going to be good enough, oh my God, Robbie Williams is sending me flowers, like how is this my life?
Absolutely. I am very difficult to work with when making an album of classic songs, because I am the last person to have the bravery to do a song. Everybody else might say this is perfect for you, or this is great, we have a great arrangement, and I'm the one in the corner going, I don't know if I should, or I don't know if it's, they'll like it, or if I have anything to add to it. I again, not an extrovert. I sometimes have to be dragged kicking and screaming into confidence land when it comes to songs that I've loved for a really long time. It's way easier to just say, here's a song I wrote, and I hope you like it. So yes, you really want to honor the song for what it has always been, the original, and what it will always be. But you also honor it by trying to make it your own. You also honor it by not trying to beat the original, by trying to expand upon the message of the song and what it means to people in my life. And so, I know from previously meeting him just what an amazing and lovely guy Robbie is. And so to have shown that support, really, it does. It means a lot. It means a lot to me to have that. It's a great thing. Sometimes you meet your heroes and you wind up being disappointed. And I've been very lucky, and Robbie is certainly in that category, where there's a graciousness that comes with that stature too, if you've done it right. And I think anybody who gets to work with people like Robbie knows that they're there for a reason. And so I'm always happy when that happens. Yeah.
What was the process of choosing the songs that you were going to put on this album?
At the beginning of the process, you're just singing a lot of things. I mean, it is fun to just come up with a wish list. I have a 50-song wish list for myself. My manager has a 50-song wish list of things he'd like to hear me sing. The producer has a 50-song wish list. The label, whenever you're deciding to embark on an album process like this, everybody goes, "Ooh, here's something I think you should do." And that's fun because it is a collaborative process, and you want to hear every idea. And I certainly don't have I'm not the biggest, encyclopedia of every song out there. So there's nothing I love more than a pleasant surprise of something I wasn't expecting to do or expecting to even like. And then you sing it and you go, oh my God, how did I ever go without knowing this song?
When I was looking through the list of songs, I was wondering about that because I couldn't choose my top 5 favorite that I would want to do.
That's a good thing. Thank you.
I don't know how. And obviously, if you'd chosen others, I would have loved them just as much because we all love you. So Harmony is available for pre-order. Other than Your Face, what is the other one that you've written yourself?
It's called The Fullest, and I co-wrote it with. It came from an idea that I came up with my friend Glenn Hansard, who's an incredible singer and songwriter, and then that kind of formulated into the majority of what that song became. And then when I started to collaborate with Kirk Franklin, who's one of the just extraordinary gospel artists, somebody who, whatever religion we are, his music is just so soul-stirring and beautiful. He took it to another place. So that song kind of had many levels of creation, which is so fun. And to me, when we all are faced with how fast our lives move, and in times like this where all of a sudden things that we didn't appreciate as much, you miss more than anything ever. To me, the idea of just embracing faith in a non-religious way, of the idea that I'm going to let whatever the unknown is take the wheel, and all I can control is how I take stock in the most important things in my life, the people I love, the music I love to make. And whenever that day comes, whether it's down the road or prematurely, that we can look at our actions today and say that you don't have many regrets. And so to me, that was my idea. That kind of became a bit of a gospel song to me, and at least what that means to me. And I love the energy of it. I love how the meaning of what that is to me came about. So we closed with it. We closed the album with it. I hope people like it.
Josh Groban, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
This was really lovely.
Pleasure.
And good luck for the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Jacaranda FM.